Yeah, 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 yeah.
Dr. Lal has been quite active. He pushes people and
Hmm.
makes sure that things move.
Unnati, Professor Gharat is a BJTI product. It is
Yes.
a very renowned institution, and it was set up pre-independence era,
Yeah.
and is still very means among the top institutes in textiles.
Yes.
So
Okay.
he is also connected with the BJTI now, and his means passion is to educate the students even now. He takes out time and tries to pass on the knowledge which he has gained to the student community.
Yeah.
That's very nice of you, sir. Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah. Very nice. Recently, I have been inducted in a Atal Innovation Mission for giving certain training as a mentor of change to the schools
Wow.
under Niti Aayog.
Yes, sir.
See, whatever we have learned, we have to pass it out. No?
That is good. That is good.
But there are very few people who take the effort. So what you're doing is really great.
No,
Yes, yes.
it is
And
keeping us busy. No, our
Not, it
brain.
is a passion. It is a passion.
Yeah,
Keeping
true,
busy is aside, but it is a passion.
Yeah, true, true, true.
For keeping busy, there are many ways you can keep yourself busy in many ways, in destructive ways or constructive ways.
It's really great.
Yes, yes.
It is keeping us busy. No,
Our brain. It is a passion. It is a passion. Keeping busy is aside, but it is a passion.
Yeah, true, 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 true.
For keeping busy, there are many ways you can keep yourself busy in many ways, in destructive ways or constructive ways.
It is keeping us busy. No, our brain.
It is a passion. It is a passion.
Vijayji, we can hear the voices back.
No, he is running, I think. He is running and testing.
Okay, okay.
So, shall we start now?
We can hear.
You can finish now.
Yeah, sorry, it was my mistake. The sound was coming from another window, which are open. So, with your permission, Chairman Sir, can we start the webinar?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so just to for the information of everyone, we are recording it on the cloud as well as it is being broadcasted live on YouTube channel of NISTI. So, good evening, one and all. I welcome you all once again to another webinar by NISTI. As you all know, NISTI has been very proactive in spreading the know-how and the knowledge among the textile fraternity. And the NISTI, which is the North India section of the Textile Institute, it was established on 24th of May 1989 with the whole sole objective of promoting the professionalism in all areas associated with the textile industries worldwide as well as India. It is setting up the professional standards for the industry and the academia. It is a learned society advancing knowledge and industrial practices. It is working for the interactive network for the exchange of ideas and the social community promoting friendship among the members. So NISTI has been proactively handholding now the institutions, industries, and spreading know-how among the students. In 2007, NISTI has transformed into an association of persons, and thereby it has been a registered society. And since then, it has been named as NISTI Register. So we are fortunate to have two young entrepreneurs in the form of Mr. Ankit Sangvi and Unnati Damadia, and we'll be hearing their experiences and their journey through all these years, which will be a learning experience for the budding technocrats, the students, and their young professionals. So I hand over the floor now to our chairman, Dr. R.A. Lal, to take it forward. Over to Dr. Lal.
Thank you, Dr. Yadav. Before I say something, I would invite Mr. Sudarshan Sharma to give a brief introduction about Mr. Ankit and Nati. About NISTI, Dr. Yadav already given a brief, but now you can give a brief of Mr. Ankit and Unnati, and then we can start.
Thank you, Dr. Lal. We welcome Mr. Ankit Singhvi, MM Unnati, and it's a pleasure to welcome you in the.
You are mute now, Sudarshan.
Yeah, I'm unmuted now. We welcome Mr. Ankit Singhvi, MM Unnati, to the NISTI family. Purposely, I'm talking about NISTI family because we are talking about the learning from each other. We are talking more on sharing our ideas and sharing the knowledge and taking further to the next generation, as we discuss shortly. Just to give you a brief of Mr. Ankit is a bachelor in engineering in polymer science from MIT Pune, and his MSc from Advanced Engineering Materials. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, he is an entrepreneur with 14 plus years of successful experience with deep passion for technology and R&D. He do focus on performance and deliverables as well, which is an ideal combination for the success. He has managed portfolios across businesses. Wow. Just looking at the list is amazing. Learning has to be amazing. Technical textiles, rubbers, mining, chemicals, marine, ordnance, space, fertilizers, plastics, real estate. And he is very strong in financial management as well. We welcome Mr. Ankit.
Thank you, Mr.
I introduced Ma'am Unnati as well at the moment, and thereafter I'll request speakers to take the session further forward. Ma'am Unnati is the second generation in the family business, CR Exports, manufacturing and exporter of safety industrial gloves. She did her business management degree from Kingston University, London. She knew her strength of the family business, and she studied in SP Jain for the global family managed business courses, and which gave her the international exposure in Dubai, Singapore, Korea, in different companies. I'm talking about the giants, Hyundai, Yakult, Tokyo, etc. At the same time, she came in touch with Reliance. She spent time with Reliance and Mahindra to know Indian context for the gloves and safety products. Now, with this practical experience and inputs from parents, she aimed to develop products in the field that are more affordable and reduce day-to-day injuries in the factories, hence increasing productivity output indirectly. We welcome Mr. Ma'am Unnati.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I request Mr. Ankit Singhvi to take the session further and present.
Zoom meeting challenge.
Pardon? Yes, Mr. Ankit, please.
Yeah, let me just share my screen with all of you first.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope my screen is visible to everybody.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction given by you, Dr. Sudarshan. It's always good to hear good words. So, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'm honored to be here speaking in front of all such experienced people of technical textile industry. It gives me immense pleasure to share the kind of adventurous journey that I've had in technical textiles. So I'm Ankit Singhvi, co-founder of Advent Polycoats, which is based in Udaipur city, also known as Venice of the East. And today I'm going to talk about why I chose technical textiles and the kind of opportunities that we had, the kind of challenges that we faced while looking at all those opportunities. What was the support that was available, and how we could move forward with all the things that we did. And towards the last, we'll be sharing about some of the products that we manufacture and some of the fields in technical textiles that we are doing some work in. So first of all, I'm also a second generation entrepreneur, and I did my bachelor's in polymer science from MIT Pune, and my MSc in advanced engineering materials from University of Liverpool, UK. And again, co-founder Advent Polycoats Private Limited. Then I worked in high energy material research laboratory on a project with on development of insulation motors, insulation for the rocket motors. And then again, after I worked on biodegradable composites with hemp fiber and potato starch at University of Liverpool. These were all internship-based work. I was not actually an employee there, but majorly an intern there. And I'm working with multiple companies in multiple portfolios, including rubber molding and real estate, hospitality, chemical, and everything. Day to day, also regularly, I give consultancies to multiple industries relating to all these fields. Now, I'll just start with how I got the opportunity to enter into technical textiles. So, if I say technical textile was probably one of the very well-planned accident in my life that happened to me. After my engineering, I joined my parents' business. So I came back to Udaipur and I started looking after the business, which was basically into industrial rubber parts and rubber moldings. And learning to manage the business, how to go through it, what are the small nitty-gritties of the business. Tried to implement few of my ideas into the business, looking at the products, how the new developments were done. But then there was one product that our company was doing, was basically into technical textiles. We used to manufacture one particular product called pneumatic block pushers. So it is basically, back then, according to what my understanding, I thought that it is basically a pillow which is made out of high strength fabric, which is used to displace probably a rock mass around 600 tons also. But then when I looked into the technicalities of the fabric and technicalities of the product, it fascinated me to a huge extent, up to such an extent that I started studying about technical textiles. I started looking at what all products can be there in technical textiles, and basically what exactly is technical textiles. Because being in Udaipur and close to Bhilwara textile, to me was moreover about the suiting, shirting, and all the wearable textiles that are around us. But after this one product, my entire concept of technical textiles changed. And the moment I entered deeply into it, the moment we started studying more about the products, I felt that there is a huge market that can be tapped on. Now, back then also, we were not manufacturing this product completely by ourselves. So we had one of our partners doing the majority of the fabric part for us, and we used to make the inflatables out of it. So I thought there is a huge potential that we can tap, probably a huge side of it that we can enter into. I had a talk about it with my father, and some of my colleagues, and probably we thought that we'll move towards technical textiles from rubber molding also. Probably venture out into another branch of our company in technical textiles. That was one of the basic reasons we moved into technical textile, because of that one product that we used to do. Now, once we entered into technical textiles, we were not supposed to compete from the people that we were already working with. So instead, what we did was we went to them and asked if they could guide us to enter into this kind of market. So we had our understandings, and gladly, Mr. Abhijit Sarkar, with whom we were working, he agreed to join us and help me, or rather guide us into the field of technical textile. Now, but then again, I had just done my engineering in polymer science, and I was very fresh out of the college. So my knowledge about the subject was not as good as it was required. So in 2007, we founded Advent Polycoats, but then probably in a few months only, I knew that I need to study something more to get into this and understand the field better, so that we can do the developments that we were supposed to do. Then I decided to do my master's in advanced engineering materials from UK. So meanwhile, when I was getting the knowledge about technical textiles and all the polymers and all the other things that we can use, we started the construction for the unit here, and all the machines and everything was ordered. So probably a year later, when I was done with my master's, the basic structure was ready. Now, what to do next? What products do we start with? I definitely didn't want it to start with something that we were already doing, because we already had some partners with which we were doing those products, and I felt it was unnecessary to disturb that kind of harmony. So we started with 2 new products. And when we started with those 2 products, instantly there was a fallback. And when I say fallback, there was few of the things that were not falling back into the place, like maybe getting to the chemicals, getting to the chemistry of it, or maybe looking at the fabric manufacturers and all those things. But then slowly and slowly, as we moved forward, we started moving into all the parameter selection criteria. So we had one final parameter situation that was there, that these are the final parameters that we have to achieve. So we just started running after those parameters that we need to achieve that, and forgetting the criticality of the situation, which is basically called selection criteria. So instead of looking at the best optimum characteristics, we went for the best product. And on it initially gave us a little bit of problems, but then we realized that we need to get the right questions asked. We need to know what is the requirement and where is it required, where the product is required. Rather than just running after the final characteristics, we need to develop some characteristics which can give a threshold product, threshold parameters for that product, which can be used in the industry with the right cost and right quality. So now we started asking the what's, like what is important. So when we started gathering the what's, like it can be anything. It can be right from the pressure that is being used on the fabric, right from the thrust, the conditions, the temperature variations, and the strength of the fabric, the kind of coating that is required. Then we started to make a product which is compatible with the threshold requirements, the fabric selection and the coating selection. we were selecting different types of fabrics and all the different types of coatings together. But then we realized that some of the fabrics are not compatible with some of the coatings. They might be, the coating can give us the final specifications, but then the fabric was not compatible to that coating. So ultimately, if they are not compatible, the final product can't be as foolproof or as better as that we want to. So by doing all the combinations and everything, we tried for the initial 2 years to develop those two products. Ultimately, we failed to develop both the products, and we were in a position where we were exactly on a standstill with the new company that we made. Now what to do? So we started thinking again how to remodel our approach towards technical textiles. After asking all the right questions, after asking all the right things, there was still something that we were missing. Slowly and slowly, we started doing rubber coatings because rubber formulations was something that we had as our core competency. So we could make different rubber formulations which can be used for different products. We started manufacturing rubber coated fabrics, which were made definitely by a lot many other industries, but then it gave us a foothold in the industry. Again, when I say foothold in the industry, it is basically monetary, right? When I say finance control, it was important. We needed some finance to back up the kind of research that we were doing to get the industry on a sustained path. We started doing small job works. We started doing some rubber coatings for companies that were already doing it. We were basically we started doing job works for majority of the companies. Another 2 years passed, and maybe then we got a foothold of ourselves. We could again invest some money and time into the research that we all were very enthusiastic in. And there was a vision when we made the company. So I'll quickly share the visions with which we formed this Advent Polycoats Private Limited. So we wanted to build a world-class research-based company, majorly into import substitutes, because we thought that there is no better market than India. Definitely, exports are good because you get paid in dollars, and dollars are on the rise, as everyone knows. But then we thought that the same product that is being imported in probably $10, we can supply that product in $5 and still earn $2 out of it. So it is always, we thought at that time that it is always better to look after the import substitutes, because that will give us a bigger market and probably a market that we can handle just by staying here. Another concept was Make in India also was there, because we were already working with a lot of products for Indian defense, and we were heavily into the concept of Make in India with all the Indian machineries, Indian chemicals and everything. So that was one thing again that was in mind. And then again, we never wanted to compromise on the quality of our products. So then once we got the foothold, we started doing different types of coatings on different types of fabrics, which are probably also called as advanced coatings. And when I say advanced coating, these are probably some of the coatings that very few people were doing back then. And now what is advanced coating? Coatings are basically performance enhancers. Now, when I say performance enhancers, how does it enhance performance? Now, a coating can enhance a fabric's performance or a product's performance in various ways. It can make the fabric much more stable. It can make the fabric maybe less porous. It can make the fabric water resistant, water repellent. Then fire retardancy is one thing. Flame retardancy is one thing. Then maybe make it antimicrobial, antiviral. We have also started working on some NBC-proof fabrics, which are like nuclear biochemical resistant fabrics. Then there are conductive fabrics. Then there are fabrics which are used as insulators. So these are various different types of coatings that we were working on and developing new products on. And when I say performance enhancers, there is a lot of selection criteria that goes into the kind of final product that you want. So let's say if you want to do a flame retardancy product or a fire retardancy product, then again, there is one thing which is called durable and another non-durable, washable, non-washable. So different chemistries goes into it. Nowadays, there are definitely a lot more chemicals that are present there, but then there are a lot of products which requires water repellency also and fire retardancy also. Now, it was a very tricky thing again to mix water repellency with fire retardancy, because once the fabric is water repellent, it is difficult to coat, it is difficult to make the fabric fire retardant again, because of all the chemistry and the surface treatments and all that you need to do. So these are some of the basic things that needs to be taken care of, that needs to be researched well before you can say that, okay, we are doing something into advanced coatings. Advanced coatings, though it sounds a very heavy name, it is advanced coatings, but once you are into it, once you know the basics of it, it's all one simple formula on how to go about it on all the products that maybe you want to use. And again, as I just said earlier, the important question was to ask the what. If you know what are the parameters that you want and what are the situations that the fabric will be used in, then probably it is easier to know the kind of coating that is required. Again, when I say the kind of coating, I would say there is nothing which is called as a perfect product. So there is a need to understand that what are the threshold requirement for that product, like what is the maximum you can achieve with all the resources that you have. Not something which is below quality, below standards, which should clear the standards also. But then again, it cannot be too costly on the pockets, because again, if you look at India as the market, India is a very price sensitive market again. Now, thirdly, when you say about advanced coatings, now it adds value to the product also. Because now, earlier, when we used to talk about technical textiles, people, the basic understanding was something that is used in industry and it has nothing to do with the aesthetic use of it. But now technical textiles has evolved into probably all sorts of direction. It cannot be defined probably as one that just enhances the functions or performance. It cannot be just qualified as which enhances the aesthetics, because now when we talk about technical textiles, it goes into your upholstery, it goes into the home textile, it goes into the sports textile, wearable ones, then protective textiles. So multiple things. So aesthetic look is also important as well as the functions. So now advanced coatings gives us an opportunity to get a mix of both these sides, be it the aesthetic parameters of it or be it the function, enhancing the functions of it. Now, coatings is a very, again, when I say coating is something which is very technical unless you know the chemistry behind the polymers. So once you know the polymers, once you know your fabric, it is easy to understand that what kind of polymer would be compatible with what kind of fabrics. And different permutations and combinations, and definitely you can use to reach up to that stage where you can finalize that this is something which can work on to the situation that is given there in the on the product that is being used. And coatings are again basically it needs to one needs to understand that coating is done with reference to the final product that is being made. It can be inflatable, it can be gloves also. Right now, if we say a lot of inflatables are being made out of coated fabrics. which again would be my expertise. We are not much into wearable textiles, but majorly into a lot of inflatables that we are doing for the DRDOs and all the other space research organizations and all the things. Now, again, despite the curiosity and the fascination about technical textiles, one needs to look after whether it is, whether the opportunities are enough to enter into it. Because when you are doing business, definitely money is something that counts. You need to look at the return on investment. You need to look on what are the profitability parameters, what are the cash flows, and whether the market is big enough for you to venture into it. Now, looking at it, India is probably the second largest textile-based economy in the world. Plus, when you talk about technical textiles, the returns are always much higher than what it is there in the conventional textile. It is tricky to enter technical textiles, but once you get the hang of it, the returns are probably much better, or rather much higher than what a normal industry has. Another thing is it has very less domestic competition. And when I say very less, this topic is so technical and still in a very nascent stage in India that even the bigger companies haven't got a hold of technical textiles yet in India, which makes India a very big place where the supply is very less, where the consumption can be huge. And when I say consumption can be huge, there is still needs to be a lot of awareness that needs to be there. But if we say the trends probably in the last 5-6 years, with the increased quality consciousness and the increased purchasing power of the local Indians, I feel the necessity of using better products, the necessity of taking high quality products has just started coming in. And this still makes us probably as one of the first leaders in technical textile industry, which are going to be present in probably when this hits its threshold in probably the next 5-10 years. We are still at probably just 10% of the manufacturing of technical textiles the entire world is doing. Now, if we talk about technical textiles growth, technical textile accounts for around 54% of the global textile segment across. And in India, it is 13% of the total technical textiles, total textile segment and apparels industry in the world, which probably is around 0.7% of the GDP of India. And if we talk about the global production, India is just at 10%, as I just told you. Now, the biggest catch is the next point, which says the consumption of technical textiles in India. Right now, if you look at the consumption, it is just at around 5 to 10%, whereas it ranges in between 30 to 70% in probably some of the advanced countries. So this is what the gap that I was just talking about, that there is a huge gap in the consumption right now. This is something which we can tap with making some better products. And when I say better products, it has to be affordable and better products. We get a better thing because of the conditions of working here. We can make cheap products here, but with better quality, again, because of the conditions that we have got cheap labor, easy to process the fabric. And the market is so huge that once it is out, selling probably a multi-million product is not going to be very difficult in this plan. Now, according to a report that I just saw by PIB Delhi, the Indian textile market is poised to grow at 8%, whereas the world growth is around 4%. So this is another very interesting data that I came across. So when it is growing at double the pace than what the rest of the world is, then I definitely think our approach that we took back then is probably the right approach for us to move into, because it's always good to tap onto that 20-25% increase in consumption in India rather than moving outside India for looking for exports and all the other things. Definitely, exports gives you maybe some better revenue, some better profit margins. But then the market in India is easier to handle. The market in India is probably much more volumetric. So even if you earn maybe $1 less, but the volumes that you'll cater to is probably going to be humongous. Now, when I say, I just told about a little of the challenges that we faced when I was just starting my business. Now, there are a lot many more things that goes into technical textiles. First, there are no much data that is available, not much information is available, probably across, no much books are there. So I felt when we started, the mentoring was one of the biggest challenges that I faced. But that I'm talking about 15 years back. Now with probably people, organizations like NISTI and all these webinars, a lot of information has been passed quite openly and quite in an open forum, which is definitely much more helpful than what the knowledge that was available back then. Then again, for a startup, when you start small, availability of raw materials, the specialty chemicals, then different types of fabrics is one of the major issues. Because when you are developing a product, definitely the quantity in technical textiles is not like 5,000 meters, 10,000 meters, 50,000 meters, or 20,000 meters. You start with 500 meters, 200 meters, 500 meters, 1,000 meters. Now, with this smaller quantity, the major challenge was to approach the fabric manufacturers to give us the smaller quantities with a better rate. And again, to procure the chemicals, the polymers in such smaller quantities was very tiresome. So now the development was costly. Again, a lot of chemicals were not being available in India. They had to be imported. Even some of fabrics that we were working on had to be imported. Even aramid fabric, for that matter, when we started, we imported a lot of aramid fabric back then. Let's say in 2008, 2009, there was no one probably across India who could supply us the kind of aramid fabrics that we were using, or even the kind of nylon fabrics that we were using. So we were importing a lot of fabrics, we were importing a lot of chemicals, but then again, it costed us a lot of time, it costed us a lot of resources that we had put in. And when you're doing a development, the first stage of development, the second stage of development, the third stage of development, there is got a lot of stages. And if the initial stage, then definitely the entire idea of moving at a fast pace gets defeated. Now I feel these challenges have come to a much better stages because of a lot of people, like I would like to tell a lot of people like Dr. Nandan also, who's doing a fabulous job in developing some fibers here, developing some fabrics, and probably a lot of other fabric manufacturers also who have started moving into technical textiles because of the growth that they also can see. Things have became a little better now, but still there is a lot of gap in between the connect between both the coating units and the fabric manufacturers. Because there are a lot of inherent fabrics that are being made, but then again, a lot of coatings can do the same thing at a lesser cost. But then again, when we are running after the European products, when we are running after all these high value products, we forget to know that price consciousness and coatings can solve the same issue at much better prices. Another issues that we faced when we started was of skilled manpower, and this is some issue which we still face. There are not much coating units across India who are doing the kind of work that we are doing. And when I say coating, it's not just about the coating, it's basically about the products also that we are making out of the coated fabrics. Because we're doing a lot of inflatables, and inflatables require a different set of expertise, a different set of skills using the coated fabric. So skilled manpower is something which is still at probably 40-50% or 60% of what exactly it is required. And for that, we need to educate a lot of new people, and we need to have new talent coming into technical textiles. Another thing being awareness, which I probably just spoke about. It directly links to the consumption of technical textiles. Because of lack of awareness, the consumption is still at 5 to 10%. But again, things are working at double the pace of the work. So I'm sure probably in the next 5-10 years, the awareness would increase multifolds. When we were working on technical textiles, there are a lot of institutes who are probably doing the research and all developments, but still there is a miss between the industry and the research organizations. There are bigger industries who are directly connected. Then there are smaller industries who fail to reach all these research organizations because of various reasons, because of the cost of testings involved, because of the difficulties to reach, difficulties to approach. It is all there when your industry is too small. And there are bigger industries, the entry barriers are there. Whenever you take one product to a company, like we faced a lot of problems. When we started, we did a lot of consultancies for a lot of big companies who were doing conventional textiles but wanted to enter technical textiles. So we developed a few products for them, being in good faith, thinking that yes, all these products will come back to us and we'll be developing and manufacturing all these products for these big companies, thinking that we might have a big future if we join hand with these companies. But then what happens is, when you are a big setup, when you have a big company, you have a better R&D facility, you take the product out, you take the reverse engineering, you develop the product, and you take the product for yourself, leaving the new entity probably still facing the same challenges as they were 8 years back. Those were some entry barriers that was there, that are still there. But then fortunately, now that the market is so open and everything being online, and the connect that has become better in the last 5 to 6 years to get the products, to get the specifications, to fill in the tenders, to get the technology transfers, things have become easier for even a startup to enter. A well-organized technical textile sector is something which is probably the need of the hour. But then accordingly, I think there is the first technical textile park that is being come up in Chennai. And I think almost around 200 companies for technical textiles are already being put up there. So I feel all these small efforts that are being there in the last couple of years are basically coming up, are basically not coming up, I would like to say, are basically covering up the starting challenges that a lot of entry-level companies are facing. When I specifically talk about challenges, then definitely there is a lot of things that are going on in plus that are probably helping it. The government initiatives and support that is being there are much better and much in line with the industry that is required right now. So the average growth, according to a study that CCA aims to have a growth rate about 15 to 20% in the domestic market size. And the technical textile size to be reach up to $40 to $50 billion by the year 2024, which is one figure that is very positive for anyone to start looking into technical textiles. Because if we look at the current market size, if you are increasing at a $10 billion or $15 billion in 2-3 years, then definitely the growth is something that one should tap in. The industry has full potential. And recently, Ministry of Textile also has approved 23 new research products, including agriculture textiles, smart textiles, maybe the medical textiles, strategic application textiles, which again goes to the DRDOs and protective gas. Sustainable textiles also have been there in the market for some time. Now, when I say we have faced some challenges and we have faced a point of no return, a point of standstill, and then we came back again. So all this time, it probably gave us a lot to think about what all things we can do, or rather what all we learned from that mistakes. So right now, if we talk about, we are coating on various different types of substrates. And when I say substrates, that means different types of fabrics. So we are using nylon fabric, polyester, then maybe cotton, aramid, polycotton. We're using fiberglass fabrics also. And when I say different types of coatings, you name it, we are doing coatings like coatings PU, we're doing acrylic coatings, we're doing silicone coatings, we're doing all types of rubbers, maybe butyl, natural, nitrile, neoprene. We're doing a lot of antimicrobial coatings, antiviral coatings. So like what we did in COVID also, we developed a washable PPE, which was like a 30 times washable PPE, which was giving the same results after the 30 wash also. And we're doing products which includes multiple layers of reinforcements. We're doing multiple fabrics layers, multiple coating layers, different types of coatings, and which varies from thickness also. The minimum coating that we're doing is probably lesser than 0.1 mm, maybe 10 grams, 8 grams coatings, to as thick as 2 mm coating on a fabric. That is another. We're doing some sandwich fabrics also, which are used in probably different types of life jackets and other products. We're doing different colors. We do a lot of tailor-made coatings also. And when I say tailor-made coatings, it again goes to the same point that I was sharing a bit earlier about the watts. So you give us the definition of what, and we'll tailor-made the solution for you. And we have done a lot of products which were tailor-made according to all these different requirements, different sets of products that were given to us. There were challenges thrown to us. Now, again, we're doing some fabrics for the CNG kits, the diaphragm fabrics, the breathable fabrics that are used for a lot of sports fabrics. We're doing some nuclear biochemical resistance, which are basically used in making inflatable shelters for the army, inflatable hospitals for the Indian defense. Then we're doing conductive fabrics, which are again used in smart textiles, waterproof, water repellent fabrics, Teflon coatings that are like the anti-stick fabrics. Then again, when I say rubber coated fabrics, it includes multiple products like portable helipads, portable water tanks, all these KK200, KK600, all these generalized products for the Indian defense also. And fabrics is one part, but then we are majorly also into the inflatable products. And when I say inflatable, HEPO chamber. HEPO chamber is one product which is like, the full form of HEPO is high altitude pulmonary edema chamber. So it is basically a product that is being used in Siachen, Ladakh, Dras sector to get the soldiers who is suffering from HAPO. So high altitude pulmonary edema is probably something which is in general sense due to the lack of atmospheric pressure. There is something when you go on high altitudes, you feel nauseatic, there's blood coming out from your nose and all these symptoms are there. So this chamber is basically made out of fabric. You just go lie down inside the fabric, zip it up. And we manage atmospheric pressure inside that inflatable product. And probably you get enough time to bring that soldier or bring that person who's suffering from that particular things back to your base, back to the hospital and get him treated. We're also doing some inflatable antennas, which are again like foldable antennas. Using making camps in separate jungles, making in some remote areas. So you can probably inflate your antenna, which can be easily transmit your radio signals and all to again connect with the base or wherever. Easy to carry, easy to fold, take away. And we are doing a lot of space recovery. We were a part of ISRO's space recovery experiments. We are the part of ISRO's IAD experiment that ISRO recently conducted. We're doing a lot of life jackets. We're doing a lot of underwater recovery products. And when I say underwater recovery, it can be submarine escape suits. It can be submarine dinghies. It can be maybe working on some torpedo recovery systems and all these other things. Pneumatic block pusher is probably the product that got me excited into technical textiles that we've been using. We use making some pneumatic jacks, then portable gas storage balloons. So this gas storage balloons is another very interesting product that caught my eye was because we're making gas storage balloons which can be used by a farmer who just has one cow. He can make gas probably from the cow dung and the agriculture waste from one cow and a small farm. Maybe take 1 liter of gas every day at home and use it with it for his light or maybe to cook on stove. As big as
we can complete in next 2 minutes if possible.
Yeah. Sure.
Thank you.
Another product can be portable water storage tanks and portable transportation tanks and all these products that it being. Lastly, I would like to tell that this is one field that is very interesting, that the scope is probably very huge. The money is very huge if you talk about as a industrialist, if you talk about doing your own thing. Because again, when you are developing your own product, the sense of pride that, yes, I'm doing this product is much bigger and it comes with a fair share of revenue along with it. So that is all. And that I should conclude my speech. And I would like to thank Dr. Nandan and NISTI to give me an opportunity to talk about my experience here. Thank you very much. And if anyone would like to contact me, these are my contact details around here, which I can share probably later also. Thank you very much, everyone, for patiently listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ankit. And sorry to interrupt you in between.
No, absolutely fine.
But now we would like to hear from Ms. Unnati, the next speaker who will be speaking on her experiences. Over to Ms. Unnati, and after her talk, we will take up the question-answer session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vijayji. I'll just try to share my screen.
Yeah.
Is it visible?
Visible. Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
So good evening, everybody. My name is Unnati. I am the business manager at Sierra Exports. I'm here to share my experience with my family managed firm and what do we do and how it has been so far. And I hope that I make some difference to you in terms of your ideas and the way you would like to start setting up your own business or your own product or service. So we go ahead. A little about me. So I finished my business administration from Kingston University in London. And after I came back, I joined Hanger for digital marketing, where I was awarded as the best performing in the country. They are a bespoke men's suits online company. So as I realized that marketing was something that I wanted to do, when I went into the firm, when I joined my business, that was the first thing that I started to do. And to continue that, I did the global family managed business from SP Jain, where I got the chance to visit so many family businesses in all around the country, all around the world. We went to Dubai, we went to Singapore, we went to Korea, we went to Japan, and we realized that business is something that it does not change with from where you come from. It's always an emotion. It's always somewhere where you try and fail. It's always somewhere where you're doing something and you have to stand strong and reach your destination. So we talk about it more ahead. So about my company first, we are a manufacturer of industrial safety gloves founded in 2010. Our production sites are in India and China, with 20% of gloves being made in India and about 80% are still done in China due to some technical, as you know, Ankit ji rightly pointed out before, it was the technical knowledge for this area is very low in India right now. The skill labor is low. So we still are heavily dependent on China, where we have a partnership factory with which we manufacture gloves. Though we maintain a very strong R&D in India, we do not sell much of in India because the lack of awareness, the willingness to spend on your workers. Like, you will buy a Nike shoes for yourself, but you will not buy it for your workers, obviously, because we still depend on the where hands are not important, where the human life value is still low. So we're still selling only say about 2 or 3% in 5% in India, and 70% of our gloves go to Europe. 5% are in US and about 20% is in South Africa. Now, when I say this, why not India? It's because one is the awareness issue. Second, the low safety budget. India does not have a large safety budget of which people are willing to spend. Now, if I share an experience with you, so we went to a company called RR Kabel, which you know is a very established company for making cable wires. So there's a cylindrical tube here, and there's a cylindrical tube here. There's a wire here, which is already put into insulation, and it's being rotated here again, wrapped. And a person is sitting where I'm sitting, and his hands are on the wire to check whether the complete insulation has taken place. And his job is to find if there's any cut, if there's any wire that has come out, or any kind of fault. Now, with this situation, now you realize in the wire insulation, there is a metal wire, there's electrical wire, there's everything that's going on in that insulated wire. And all he has is 4 times a fabric folded to hold that wire. So when we went to him and we asked him that why are you not wearing glove, he said, glove se jamta nahi hai, ye kapda acha hai. And when we looked at the glove that he's wearing, it's a basic polyester glove which does not give you any protection. The problem is that even though if somebody wants to wear the glove, firstly, workers don't want to wear the glove because it's too hot in India. But even if they want to wear the glove, there is no information provided to the safety manager, and there is a lack of awareness. When I talk about gloves, we are doing about 350 types of gloves. The commonly known gloves are these, and we don't do any of those. The reason to tell you is this, again, that if we decide to sell in India, the first thing we need to do is educate people, which I believe that these sort of webinars is the right way to go forward to, help people to know that there are other ways of making your work efficient. For example, if you look on the left-hand side on the first image, there's a brake disc. Now, this brake disc is, say, about 4 or 5 kgs. A person is lifting the brake disc and he has to put it from one place to another conveyor belt. The brake disc, if assuming it falls and if he's not wearing the glove, his fingers will be broken for sure. Now, the yellow part that you see on the glove is a rubber that actually protects you from that impact. The small brisk-like things that you see around the brake disc are very sharp. If he is not wearing the glove, he'll be very careful in lifting the brake disc and will be very slow to do it. And in that process, he is delaying the work. And at the same time, he is even risking his hand to cause a puncture or a cut. But at the same time, if he's wearing the glove, he does not risk his hand. And at the same time, he's faster to finish his work. Coming on the right-hand side, we see a metal sheet. Now for the metal sheet is very thin. I cannot use the glove on the left because it will give me the protection against cut, but I won't be comfortable to hold the metal sheet because it's so thin and the glove is thick. So we have another glove which is cut resistant, but at the same time, it is coated with a different type of material. And when we come down to the left-hand side at the bottom, so we're doing welding here. Now in India, even something as welding, which is so common, I've never seen somebody wear a glove. It's because nobody is provided with that glove to realize that the glove will provide precision. Because when somebody is welding something, they're holding it from their left hand and they're holding it so far that the precision of what he is welding comes down to very low if he's not wearing the glove. On the right side, there's an anti-static glove that gives you protection against small components in the electrical assembly. Then there is a special grip that is done for glass industry. There's a special cutting grip for food glove. I cannot use the gloves here to do the food cutting. That has to be a special glove that is FDA approved, that is Europe approved, to European norms approved, to realize that I can freely use it again with food and the food is not affected. And then I have chemical gloves, which is a different type of coating. And I have also something called reinforcements, which is the protection between the index and the thumb with different materials. So you have rubber, you have leather, you have fabrics, you have aramids. The reason is that is the most affected part and the most high abrasion part of the hand when any material is being used. So when somebody is going to approach with their product or service, the first question would somebody ask is, why should I buy a product or service? In terms of any startup or idea, you have to bring new perception and insights. So when I go to any local customer, and I will say local because that will be a new field for me. I'm already selling this in Europe, but when I sell this in India, somebody would ask me, glove kya hai? Because nobody would know. And I have to explain him what is the perception, what is the reason to do this, due to which I spent the last 5 minutes explaining that the gloves, that every glove that you wear is very different and very unique to the application that you're doing. If somebody realizes the need, if somebody can create the need, I think that product will be successful. It's very important to somebody to create the need, or you make the other person realize the need if you see the gap. The requirement of new, if you're selling something that is already there in the market, if you're selling a service, if you're selling any product, if I'm selling a glove, like if I go back, this glove, or the bottom right one, it's already there in the market. It's either going to be a price war or a quality war. That is why we do something unique. It's very important to do something unique in technical textiles, especially because there are services, there are products that is already there in the market, but is not enough to suffice the need of giving the efficiency. The products cannot be thicker and thicker. It has to be more comfortable and more dexterous in terms of the person's comfort and to do things. And the ease to use, of course. So if I am doing something and if my glove is not at the proper size, if it's too complicated to put on, if it's too complicated to wear or understand, there are some gloves which person doesn't realize, which is the front or the back, and that is a true story. So the ease to use, the very visibility, it has to be there on the table. In terms of opportunities in the safety industry, in India especially, the gap is very huge in safety. As Ankit really pointed out, since this gap is there, you have a lot of opportunities. If you have these opportunities, the only one place I think we lack is the awareness. If the awareness is generated and more young entrepreneurs join the technical textiles field, especially with, say, PPE or fabrics or defense or any other field that they are interested in, I think this gap can be really filled in very fast. The need of products from outside China. India is heavily dependent on imports right now. It's heavily on China. And the main reason why it's coming from China are two. One, their technical experience is very good. They just know what they are doing and they do it consistently from shipment to shipment. So you're getting quality goods. And the second is the volumes. They have volumes, they have the volumes available, and they can provide you in a much cheaper cost than you can do it in India. If you try to make your company system dependent and not people dependent, I think this is achievable. When I say this, for example, if I have a factory running in Mumbai, when we make gloves in Mumbai, if there is, assuming, say, for example, one manager is not present who's responsible for doing something, the entire day process can be crippled. So that means that the company is people dependent and not system dependent. But if they know that what to do in the person's absence, I think that gap is easily filled in and these opportunities do not lapse. I think we should all go global, but the challenges faced here is something that I've highlighted here. First thing is competitive prices, where really the China comes into the picture. When you try to go global, yes, you get a very good market, you get a very big customer base, but you have to compete in price, you have to be competitive. But if you do not want to be competitive, there's something that your quality should talk about. Risk of duplication. On a global level, duplication of technical textiles becomes really easy because there are many countries who are more technical and more experienced in this sort of field. But that comes as a slow and steady learning process, I feel, where you realize that there are things that you can patent, there are loopholes where you can take care of the product that you have invented. But at the same time, the global platform allows you to grow faster in a much having a much more understanding customer base than that in India. Time-consuming lead conversion. It's very important to be patient when we are trying to convert a lead on a global level, especially because it takes a lot of time with transits and testings and a lot of... So if somebody is there in India, you will just directly fly to his office. Or if it's there in your city, you will tell him, "Theek hai, chai pe aa jate." But you can't do that abroad. And it's at least minimum 6 months of lead conversion is something that we need to bank when we are trying to go global. The fourth point is logistics. That is time consuming. Before COVID, logistics was easy. It was easy and it was very cheap. But after COVID, the prices have increased by 100 times at least, which is coming into more into control now. But that is something that nobody was prepared for when the prices were increased so high that even the glove price were cheaper than the logistics. When you want to sell in India, the first thing that comes is entry barriers. Getting into a company is so difficult. When you do that abroad, you just have to write to the purchase manager, you have to drop an email. But in India, it's so difficult to get hold of a person who's responsible for that particular thing that you want to talk about, or a purchase manager or a safety officer. Or that is just on the selling part of field. When you talk about the technical part of it, there are not enough exhibitions to put yourself on the show that, yes, you are a new supplier of whatever product that you're into, or there is too much of domination into the field where only the large players are given importance. So that is one entry barrier that is faced in India. And I think that has to be overcome by more and more meetings. If there are more meetings, like for example, if I have been into gloves since a very long time. I didn't know neoprene coating, that's something what Ankit is doing is actually quite common in India. What he is doing, there is somebody doing that in India, which I didn't realize there was. So had there been a platform for more and more communication, I think this kind of things can be overcome slowly. Lack of awareness, as we are telling, that there has to be more education, there has to be more budget allocation to the safety industry, due to which only there can be a way of creating more quality products in India and bringing it more in a prospective field to give workers more best product in that case. And the last is low human life value. One thing I would like to point out here is one Mahindra, I think I went in when I asked them that, they were wearing a regular cotton glove, and I asked them, why are you not giving them whatever glove that was, good for that in the application? And they told me one thing: the value of a thumb in India is 6,000 rupees. 6,000 rupees is, that is just the value what is being said in India, of a thumb. And you realize that the gloves are more, they're not any significance given to the gloves because of this sort of valuations that take place in India. Okay, so I'd like to just point out some developments of Sierra here. One is, when you want to make a cut-resistant glove, there is one wire that normally grows in any cheap glove or any specialized glove, high-resistant glove, any glove. It's a glass wire or it's a steel wire. We came up with a glove that was cut-resistant, but it did not have any glass or any steel. That was the first pioneer project that we did in 2015, which was very popular all over the world. And then we joined hands with DuPont's Kevlar. Kevlar is, how bulletproof jackets are made. So that is a company that does that fabric for you. And we joined the hands with them to make this glove with no glass, no steel. That was the second project. Another development that we have done is jet black cut resistant gloves. Now, why jet black? Because if you look at a regular cut resistant glove, it's normally salt pepper. Even if you try to make it jet black, there's a yarn in it that will always make it look little like with white dots. We wanted to make it jet black for two reasons. One is with the dust and the oil that the glove collects while working. And second is for the military version of it, because if the glove is completely jet black, the military person will be able to hide his hands better. The fourth glove that we did was made of recycled plastic yarn. So if you see at the right side, we have showed how this yarn is made. It's so the bottles are collected, then they are converted into pellets, and then a yarn is drawn from it. We made the gloves made of that. And these are some developments that I wanted to show, which were our failures. It was utter failure. None of those work. We thought it was very successful and the gap is there, but it does not work. The ideas were perfect, but the market share of the preliminary product was zero, completely zero. What I want to point out here is, even if it's a failure, you cannot stop. You cannot stop at what you're doing. You have to go ahead. So what we did, the glove that you see with the no glass, no steel version, we just made a cheaper version of it. We separated from Kevlar and we made a cheaper version for it where the people were actually liking the glove made of no glass, no steel, and we made it successful. The second glove that we did, so when what we had done was, when we had no glass, no steel, we had put a yarn called basalt in it, which is made of lava that is there in the volcano, that comes out of the volcano, that out of which the basalt yarn is drawn. So the basalt glove was actually shown to the customers who did not know, but that was what was there in the glove, which had no glass, no steel. The third glove, which we thought that would be useful to military because it's black, it turns out the green color is more useful to them. So we turned the glove green, which you see on the bottom left, and we are now selling it to the UK Defense. The fourth thing that we made of recycled plastic, we earlier tried to put the recycled plastic yarn in regular gloves, regular polyester, regular nylon, which was drawing up the price. So we put in cut resistant yarn, And now the glove is 20% less cost and much cheaper than China, which is shown on the bottom right. This is a generic learnings that I have learned, and I realized that anybody in their startup or anybody in the basics should know. Go global. That would always be my first suggestion, that you should go global. Take it, any product, any service, everything is sellable globally. Every customer you find, you will know that in any country, your product has some space. You just have to find it. Manage your cash flow. This is the most important segment of your business that you have to run. If you know how to manage your cash flow, you will never run out of money. Responsibility with the 80-20 rule. Do only the 20% work, which is 80% important, which means if I am responsible for, say, ordering inventory, ordering the materials, okay? So I am the purchase manager and I'm the owner of the business. I will not order 100% of the material that I need by myself. I will order only the 20% material, which is 80% used in the product that I'm making, that is actually making up 80% of the glove. So my yarn is the most important to me, which is ordered by me, and the rest petty things are given to other people to order, which means that you free up your time. Learn to delegate is the intention here with the 80-20 rule. Staying humble. So this was that came up with Balaji. So we were in Balaji for talking with the owner, and we were waiting for him in the office. And there's the man who comes up the stairs, and he just comes in and he says, "Good morning, chai lenge?" So we were like, "No, thank you, but sir ka wait ho raha hai." And then we realized we didn't even look up to the person, and he was him. So the thing here is that when you stay humble, you automatically get warmed up to the person, and the person will always remember you in the same way that as I remember him. And staying humble is key, as even if you grow old, even if you are young, staying humble is the key here. Communication with peers, especially in the safety, where if you are into technical, it's very important to be in touch, like over here, where you know that what is being developed in the industry, what is being made, what is being invented. So you realize that there are so many things that we could do together. If I am more successful in something, say some product is my forte and another product is your forte, it's very easy to two people to come together and do something that can be very popular in the country. Read books or listen to podcasts, that is important. Exercise, yes, because it actually just runs up your mind, even when you feel very down for it. Be a good listener and an honest speaker. Invest is something that I think everybody has learned during the COVID period, It's always very important to have a second income stream. Check for government benefits. Government is providing so much benefits, especially for the products that are being made in India. And it's very important that you share and you check that what is things that you can benefit from. Like the plastic gloves that we do is actually under the subsidy of the government. So we get a more added benefit there, and we're able to provide a cheaper cost to the client because of that subsidy. So the idea is a commodity and execution is not. Everybody thinks of an idea, but please execute it. The least that could happen is that you would fail, but at least that something is that you learn. Thank you very much. Vijay ji,
Vijay, you are mute. Vijay Yadav, you are mute.
I'm sorry. So thank you, Ms. Unnati, for a wonderful presentation. And I also extend my deep gratitude to Mr. Ankit for his deep-rooted ideas. Now we are over to question answers. So there are a couple of questions which have been raised by Mr. Ravi Shankar. Mr. Ravi Shankar, it appears that the questions are more or less like a debate. So you can quickly ask your question just as a learning so that we can avoid the debate here. Mr. Ravi Shankar, are you around? Yes, Mr. Ravi Shankar, you can unmute. Okay, by the time he comes back...
it was just like a comment rather than questions. He was commenting on...
Comment, yes. Okay. Mr. Nandan, Dr. Nandan, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I just want to thank both of them, Unnati and Ankit. Great work. Thanks so much. I just want to add something what Mr. Ravi Shankar wanted to ask. Yes, I completely agree that you need to take extra care on technical textiles because you are talking about high value raw materials, and it doesn't matter if owner is involved or general manager is involved or who is involved, but you have to take care because the raw materials are costly. And the moment you have costly raw materials, if something goes wrong, you cannot do anything to that. Example, if we have aramid fiber, till it's in the fiber form, there is no problem. But once it's blended with something, and if something goes wrong, then your whole aramid is waste. So that is a major challenge. But I completely agree with Ankit and Unnati. It's like, we should look for global market because that's where there is a risk, but there is a good reward. And with global, you have, if your clients are set, example, we have one client from Mexico from 2013, and this is 2022. Still, we are working together because, it's very difficult for them also to find someone in India. So yes, we should look for global market share. At the same time, I think I completely agree with Unnati and Ankit's presentation that we have to find our niche. You cannot just sell commodity. You need to find that niche area where we can create our own brand value. Thanks so much.
We have a question from Mr. Premjit Singh. Mr. Premjit, are you around?
Yes, I'm available.
Yeah, please raise your question, sir.
No, actually, my experience with technical textiles dates back to the year 2014-15, when there was one company in UK that was stuck up with supplies from China, and they had to urgently make up the textiles for tents, army tents, which goes to be manufactured in London, means in a factory near in the UK, and then it goes to Middle East. So at that point in time, there was an opportunity where means I had my contacts with the textile groups here, and I found that as a very rich business. Means I was purely trading. It was just a kind of a reference, and it is a high volume, high value business. But then I found out that means I could not continue because my field is into garments. So I got this inquiry from some reference. But I find there is a huge vacuum there in technical textiles. And when I look at the competitors, there is a big competition from Pakistan. There are some small textile players like Taiwan who are doing extremely good. But in India, despite India being a textile giant, unfortunately, there is a very little mention of technical textiles. Means forget about the domestic market, even for exports, I think there is no this thing. So why is it like we are not visible on an international scale? Is there a lack of government support? Is there a lack of interest amongst the entrepreneurship community in India? Or is it the entry barrier?
Can I answer that question, Mr. Yadav?
Yeah.
This is Ravi Shankar.
Hi.
So what I would like to say is that this technical textile, in my experience, is a very interesting field for technically and intellectually. So once it, unlike the regular textile, it is intellectually more satisfying to a technical person or a person who likes to develop things. So what happens is generally it is with small entrepreneurs who have small businesses who are not starting very big. You are not starting a 1,000 crore technical textile project. You are hardly doing 2 crores, 5 crores and 10 crores. So the owner gets involved in it. And so when you are such a small business, going global is not so easy because number one, from the time you get a lead and to convert it into an order, to make a product, get it tested, approved and get it, it takes a lot of time. And that kind of luxury is not there with most of the entrepreneurs. That is the reason why, since India has got all small units, they cannot go global. That's number one. And even if they go global, then the volumes are not there because they are so small. So it is a chicken or the egg syndrome. So that can only be solved when medium scale technical textile industries come into the picture. At least the investment of 25, 50 crores, only those guys can get into a business. That's what I've seen. People who have grown from 2 crores to 25, 50 crores, they've really grown global in the country. I can name a few, but no, I think this is not the right forum, but I know quite a few people who have gone global. After they become slightly bigger, once the turnover crosses 20, 25 crores, then they have the time and the energy and the money to do that. So that explains your first question. The second thing is, since it is so technical, we don't have people who are well versed in, actually it should be called material science. It should not be a textile or it should not be a polymer. It is material science. So a person should be good in both textile and polymers if you want to be a success in this industry. I think like people like Nandan Kumar who are both who have experience in both these, they have been successful only because of this. This is what I'm saying.
Dr. Yadav, we should now we should now invite Dr. Kothari to comment upon, because we don't have questions, we have comments generally from the participants.
Okay, Mr. Ravi Shankar, your point is well taken.
Yeah.
I think we can hear from Professor Kothari now.
Yeah.
Okay. It was very interesting to learn about the experiences of two people who had the technical textile enterprise, and it looked that it took very long time for them to really get into the sort of nitty-gritty of the business. That is true with all technical textile businesses. It doesn't really start on day one. It really takes a lot of learning before you really establish yourself. And that's why it becomes an entry barrier for many of the people. Second is obviously some knowledge is required, as was being said by Ankit, that he had to virtually go to a university to learn about the advanced materials and learn about the technical textiles. So some amount of technicalities have to be learned in order to really succeed in this particular business. As far as both the speakers said that probably there is a lack of awareness, I probably do not understand how to really fulfill it, because from my experience of last 50 years, we have been only talking about creating the awareness about the technical textiles, various applications of it, because I did the first project in 1979 for Ministry of Textiles in the area of nonwovens. So, and we organized many sort of seminars, workshops, short courses, etc., etc. And every year there must be at least 15 to 20 seminars and conferences in the areas of technical textiles. So virtually I failed to understand what we can really do in order to create the awareness. Because every time you go to a conference, you hear this, that there is a lack of awareness. Yes, there is a lack of reluctance to really spend money and sort of adopt some of the things which are important from the both from the point of view of the safety, from the point of view of the application, and it makes a lot of technical sense to adopt them, but somehow the cost benefit analysis doesn't really support that. This is particularly true with the type of things we really get in the field of geotextiles or some other applications. But yes, it's very important that where the safety is involved, one has to really adopt the technical textiles. And we did hear about the use of medical textiles, which has been going on for in a much bigger way. And probably even geotextiles are being adopted now in many of the technical solutions. And this is probably true in many other areas. But the concerns raised by Unnati regarding the awareness about the safety, the type of products which are available, and readiness to adopt them is something which needs to be addressed. And I think the government is aware of it. As far as I know, there has been a lot of attempts to really sort of involve the industry, but ultimately the industry will have to see the cost benefit analysis and see how they can either be forced by a mandatory requirement to adopt them, or would have to sort of adopt them willingly because they see the advantage of using that particular technical products. Now, we have been talking about the growth in the industry in the technical textile area since very, very long. And every time we have been missing the bus. We are starting with a low base, and even if we can really grow at around 10% annual growth rate, it would really increase the market substantially, and it will give a lot of opportunities for the new entrepreneurs to get into the technical textile area. But one really needs to look at some concrete suggestion how to really increase the skilled manpower, how to increase the awareness, and the industry obviously will have to play a major role in all these areas, because increasing the skilled manpower at the government level by supporting the courses or the programs, etc., has limited utility unless really you really have the great involvement of the industry. It doesn't really work out too well. Government has been having many sort of has made many attempts to do that. The other thing which Ravi Shankar pointed out was that many of the enterprises in the technical textile industry are relatively small, and we really need to get to the mid-size or the slightly bigger size industries in order to support the R&D, in order to really go global and compete globally. So there are many issues which have been important in the technical textile industry. I got involved with the technical textile industry way back in 1979. So it's been a long journey for me in the technical textile industry and in the technical textile arena. And the issues which we used to hear in 80s are the same issues we are hearing today. So that really creates a little bit of challenge as well as dilemma to how to solve this particular puzzle of really moving forward. Although the rate at which the movement in the industry is occurring now is much faster than what we had in 80s where we were really looking at. Coating is obviously a very, very exciting field because it can really give many opportunities and many types of products. It could really solve many sort of issues which are important for both safety as well as from the utility point of view. Gloves are obviously very, very important, and there about such a large variety of gloves which are in existence from Unnati, and probably their participation in the various forums and creating the awareness about those gloves and their utility would really be very, very useful. So we had a lot of learning today from both the entrepreneurs, and it was a very, very useful experience for me. So I hope that the audience also had a lot to learn from their experiences, because it took them very, very long time in order to really establish themselves, become good of the products in the area they are working in. So with this few comments, I probably hand it over to Yadavji.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words and summing up the whole talk by the two wonderful speakers. I believe there are no more questions, and both the speakers have listed their email IDs, and also we'll be sending this communication to all the registrants, which are 300 plus as of now. And we will take permission from both the speakers for sharing their presentation to the larger audience for their later use. And Dr. Lal, how to go for the next? Would you like to
I would now speak, because now Professor Chatterjee is also not there. So I have to take that responsibility of saying vote of time, proposing vote of time. It was great to listen the two young speakers. We were very much excited that they are from the generation of families. And I think I was thinking that both are, means one is Unnati, I knew that she is second generation entrepreneur, but Ankit also told that he is second generation entrepreneur. We had great speakers. One believes in in his product to be exported, and the other believes in domestic supply. Both are good. Both are great in their way of thinking. See, he says there is a lot of scope. Mr. Ankit says that it's a lot of scope in India itself. Why to export? He is not vying for a lot of money to come from that. He believes in development. Lot of development he has done, and he believes in import substitutes. Unnati has done great in developing the large quantity of large number of gloves type, large variety of gloves, over 350 type, and she has really pointed out there is very low concern in means domestically in the health, means in the production industry, to provide gloves to the workers. She says that when a person says what is the cost of glove, so for him the life has no value, and that Professor Kothari would agree with me. In a small scale industry like Pali and Jodhpur, etc., they do trampling of fabric in caustic soda and caustic soda and the sulfuric acid. Bare feet. They are provided gloves, but they don't wear. Because workers also don't find comfortable to do the production using the gloves. So it was really very nice presentation from both of the young speakers, and a lot of learning has been taken by the say when Professor Kothari is here, a lot from these two speakers, then nothing left behind. That other speaker, other audience, other participants would also have learned a lot. Professor Kusal Sen is there, Professor Binod Shanbag is there, and there are so many friends of mine who have joined. Mr. Vasandani is there. We have heard him earlier. Rakesh Kumar Gupta is there. R.P. Sharma is there. Anand Sharma ji is there. Anand Sharma is 70 batch TITN. Many stalwart participants have joined, and I am sure that they would have learned a lot. I don't know whether Unnati is using that platform. Perhaps Dr. Nandan Kumar will tell her to use advanced license for growth of her business.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I think Sierra Export is submitting their application. So it has been a great session, and what we thought of, what we conceptualized, what we conceived, we got from the both the speakers. And I'm very much thankful to all the participants who have participated in great number. It was more than 70 a time. And gradually, as happens with every webinar or seminar, people have some other commitment and they go. But sticking up around 550 participants even at the end of this talks is a great thing. So Unnati and Ankit, I again thank you on behalf of NISTI, and you have really obliged us by joining us and giving your giving the benefit of your experience, your innovations, your learnings, your exposure to the participants. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.
We should give a big applause.
Yes, yes, yes. Thanks, Professor Kothari. Let us now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nandan, if you are here, I will talk to you later on about one of your application is lying with me. Performance, I think, is left.